Good day everyone! Welcome to Sir Fox Learning Channel. For today's video, pag-uusapan po natin motion graphs. Ano nga ba yung significance ng motion graph? To determine the relationships of distance, time, and speed or velocity. Kung gusto mong malaman yan, panuorin mo ang video ito. At kung bago ka sa channel na ito, huwag mong kalimutang mag-subscribe. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell all para updated ka sa mga susunod ko pong video. Happy learning everyone!
Okay, our lesson for today's video is all about motion graphs. Our learning target is to explain how the position versus time, velocity versus time of constant velocity motion are different from those of constant acceleration motion. When we say displacement versus time graph, it allows for the determination of average velocity and instantaneous velocity. When we say instantaneous velocity, it refers to the velocity of an object in motion at specific point in time. And when we say average velocity, it refers to the displacement of an object per unit of time. So you will notice here we use displacement, we use velocity. We are talking about vector quantities. When we say vector quantities, these are quantities with magnitude and direction. All right? So since we're talking about motion graphs, meaning to say we will try to graph moving bodies using their motion and their velocities. So what can you say on the picture illustration? Ano yung makikita mo dyan sa picture illustration na yan? So, a man, a boy, pushing the wall. Of course, once you push, you're applying a force. When you push, there's a force, there's a motion. Bakit may motion? Once you push a body, that body will move, preferably. So here, we will study position and velocity, graphs of motion, acceleration. Let's talk first about position, speed, and time graphs. What kind of motion happens when an object rolls down a hill? So what kind of motion will happen? An object rolls down a hill. Anybody write down your answer on the comment section. Motion graphs are an important tool used to show the relationships between position, speed, and time. So with this graph, we will see how these three quantities are related to each other. For instance, a moving body, how long will it take? For example, since we're talking about directed or vector quantities. For example, going to school, you, uh, you have already a point of position to go. And then what you have to do now is to measure how long will it take for you to go there. Now, of course, once you measure time, your velocity, your speed also is uh, you have to consider as well your velocity or speed. Example, a running boy here, 10 meters and 20 meters. Wait lang. A runner can learn more about performance by studying data or graphs. So, example nga, a marathon runner, for him to know his performance, he can determine his development or improvement by using position versus time graph. Okay? Position versus time data tells you the runner's position at different position in time. Example here, on the graph, let's say this is the position time graph of the runner. At time zero, of course, the runner is still not moving. Wala pa. Zero pa lang yung kanyang time eh. At 10 seconds, the runner moves at 50 meters. At 20 seconds, the runner moves at 100 meters. And at 30 seconds, the runner moves at 150 meters. The runner is at 50 meters after 10 seconds, 100 meters after 20 seconds, and 150 meters at 30 seconds. A good way to show relationships between two variables is to use graph. So para makita po natin, ma-determine po natin yung relationship ng dalawang variable. One way, good way to show it is by using graph. Example, yung ating data po kanina, yung runner's position and his time, ito yung kanyang graph. At 10 seconds, he runs 50 meters. At 20 seconds, he runs 100 meters. At 30 seconds, he runs 150 meters. A graph makes it easy to see if changes in one variable cause change or changes in the other variable. So, what does it mean? Makikita po natin yung pagbabago through the graph. Makikita po natin yung pagbabago ng mga variables. Yung effect ng change ng mga variables from one variable to another. Runner's position versus time. To graph data, you put position on the vertical axis. Time goes on the horizontal axis. Data are plotted between x axis and y axis. Alright, that's how. An object moving at a constant speed always creates a position versus time graph. That is the straight line. Okay? Once a body moves constant with a constant speed, it has always a straight line, like the runner on the example. For instance, here on the graph, two variables may have a strong relationship. So ito po yung graph of a variable having a strong relationship shown here. Weak relationship. Ito naman yung graph ng weak relationship. Or no relationship at all. Ayan po. Parang ano yan, parang relasyon lang. Nakikita mo dito, pag strong relationship, may direction. May forever. Weak relationship, na-stuck up na lang. Hindi na nag-move on. Na-stuck up na lang. Tingnan mo yung graph. No relationship at all. Ayan. Magulo. Pwede pala nating i-apply ito sa relationship. Personal relationship. Okay, the table here shows how quickly the car gets from A to B as the angle of the track changes. So ito po yung car po natin showing how quick this car moves from A to B. Ito po yung mga datas niya. We plot the data on a graph. What kind of relationship does the graph shows? So yung ano po kanina, ito po yung sa car. So strong relationship. Kung as we plotted the data of the car moving. So we have strong relationship. So may tinatawag din po tayong direct and inverse relationship. Ito po yan. And then relationships between variables. So these are linear and non-linear relationships of a graph. The first one here showing linear relationship or direct linear relationship, meaning as the value of x, may value pa pala yung x, as the value of x increasing, the value of y also increases. So, kaya direct relationship. Here, the graph shows inverse relationship. Inverse. As x increases, si y nagdi-decrease. Di ba yung inverse, yun yung may strong relationship? And here, the graph shows a direct non-linear relationship. The curve slope upward from left to right. So non-linear. This is a non-linear relationship, inverse non-linear relationship. The value of y decreases quickly as the value of x increases. Okay? Siyempre, in a relationship, mayroon din po tayong tinatawag na dependent and independent variables. Sa mga researchers, alam po nila to. Pag sinabi po nating dependent variable, these are the variable that responds to change in the independent variable. However, independent variable, these are variables that cause the change in the dependent variable. So, kung maalala po yung sa runner, ano po yung dependent doon at independent? So, makikita po natin yung position ng runner kanina dun sa unang example natin, nakadepende lang dun sa tinakbo niya. Tagal ng pagtakbo niya. So, ibig sabihin, ang dependent variable doon or independent variable yung time, dependent yung kanyang position. Diba? Parang ikaw, pag mabagal ka maglakad, matagal ka rin makarating dun sa pupuntahan mo. So, yung pagdating mo sa isang lugar, nakadepende dun kung gaano ka kabilis tumakbo o maglakad. Okay? Okay, let's talk about the speed versus time graphs. The position versus time graph has position on the y-axis and time on the x-axis. Ayan. Position, time. Ibig sabihin, asan dito yung ating independent and dependent variable? Independent variable, dependent variable si position. Which runner has a faster constant speed? Paano natin makukuha yung kanyang constant speed? Pwede mong gamitin yung rise and run at pwede mo rin gamitin yung formula ng speed. Alright, though these graphs display the same data, what do you think? You have here, pagtingin mo palang hindi diba? This is a linear graph pero horizontally. Yung kanyang time did not change. Diba? Dahil hindi nagbago yung kanyang time, hindi rin nagbago yung kanyang speed. However, here, you will see as time increases, the distance also increases. So calculating distance, a speed versus time graph can also be used to find the distance the object has traveled. Okay? Find yung speed versus time graph, pwede siyang magamit para ma-determine yung distance of a moving object. Like what is shown in the illustration below. Okay? So much for that. Kung bago ka sa channel na ito, sana nakatulong po ang video ito para sa inyo. Kung bago ka, please don't forget, to subscribe this channel para maging updated ka sa mga susunod ko pong video. Happy learning, everyone!